Hello, everyone, to another MedTalk episode today with Juli Gudehus. As we met before already, talking about the Tuqtuli project in general, today we have part 2 going on, and Juli is going to show us how Tuqtuli can be used in a real example, and she uses ibuprofen for this. Juli, just give us a short intro about yourself for those who haven't heard of you before.
Hi, Katrin. So wonderful to be here again. I'm looking forward to this session with you. And I'm speaking here from Berlin. Behind me, that's Berlin, my apartment in Schöneberg. And I'm here working in this room that you cannot see. I'm an artist, and I've had a lot to do with science since my studies, when I translated the Genesis, the creation story from the Bible, into science, and that somehow has accompanied me since then. And that is, as you can see from my wrinkles, that is quite a while ago.
Yeah, so for everyone who is interested in your previous work, we talked a lot more about that in the part 1 Tuqtuli MedTalk. I can just recommend listening to it because it's really interesting, and to see how you went from science to what you're doing and how you combine art and graphics and just you. For me, this is a very Juli project. I don't know you apart from that, but it's something very creative and personal, I think. And the cool thing is that you infected other people too, and they got inspired by your idea. And I really love that spirit about the project. Would you like to introduce us a little into the ibuprofen example?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Ibuproject is Tuqtuli's first international interdisciplinary cooperation. Tuqtuli is a communication principle. It goes without saying, and instead you line up signs like words. Tuqtuli is a dialogical principle. It comes in handy when there's no common language, no interpreter, and no translation apps, like here between patient and doctor. Speech turned into symbols. This principle can also be applied in a vectorized form to messages intended to last, like stories, instructions on how to prepare food, official notifications, games, teaching tools, and medical instructions. This is an idea that Eric Scholz had in one of my Tuqtuli workshops, and I sent his draft to 3 fellow members of the Symbol Group. That is an international group of people who work with and research science. One of them, Mandarane, immediately translated it back into language together with a student, Gayatri Somaseka. And they got a remarkable 75% of it right. For me, that was the spark to take the idea seriously. Now, this is the core team: Dr. Karel van der Wade from Brussels, Belgium, Professor Mandarane from Mumbai, India, and me from Berlin, Germany. We asked ourselves, is it possible to develop Tuqtuli translations that will be understood worldwide, and is it necessary? Obviously, illiterates and people who do not speak the language spoken around them would benefit from a Tuqtuli translation, and we think, hey, better they understand something instead of nothing at all. We envision Tuqtuli to become natural in the context of medicine instructions. And as everything big starts small, we set up the Ibuproject as a pilot. As ibuprofen is sold in many different versions worldwide, it is a good choice for such a pioneering project. In phase 0, we reduced the sheer volume of small print and rewrote it in plain language. Last autumn, we sent out invitations via the symbol group to other people we know and on social media. We received 11 entries by 14 people, so we were a start team of 17 from 9 countries and 6 disciplines, aged between 23 and 86. I'll show you their different approaches, focusing on visual concepts. Like this from Ariel Martin Perez, or this by Alessandra Vierucci. This is from Nigel Holmes, and this is from Alicia Link. Ayman Amine, Cesco Reale, and Diana Höfels from the Communicating Project. Holger Ziemann, Anna Bondarczuk, Dominik Müller, Hongmin Krämer, Divya Gagnani, and Liz Hessling. Maybe you noticed that not everyone followed the brief of drawing by hand in phase 1, and some clustered signs instead of lining them up. A principle which might need getting used to, while it is something that every culture in the world did in early mankind. To facilitate comparison of all the new visual vocabulary and of the different pictogrammatical approaches, I compiled these expression by expression. There are 110 of them, and here you see 3 different basic ideas for 24 hours. And here, back pain, varying in level of detail. I did the same with the pictogramma in order to make similar approaches visible. Now, you might say that's obvious, but that's precisely the charm of it, where very different people come up with very similar visual ideas. That's where the compass needle points. Maybe you noticed, just like from one spoken language to another, these are not word-by-word translations of like swallow 1 capsule with water. A Tuqtuli order of components often works differently to English. And very often it needs somewhat more elaboration. For example, our original text says ibuprofen helps, but to communicate ibuprofen helps you feel better is much more telling. For phase 2, we aim to reduce redundancy and to optimize. Here are our 4 different versions. You can see that their components stem from different hands and minds. Now in phase 3, we will test these 4 versions on a small scale. Meanwhile, independently of our work, Ibuproject member Adam Yeo, teaching in Buntuku, Ivory Coast, had his students translate the text, and so did Loïc Mallet with his students in Lyon, France. Their work will be integrated into ours in phase 4. Also meanwhile, Ibuproject member Dr. Tobias Gantner and I started a sibling of the Ibuproject, the Milulayu project. So now in the course of this, in the summer semester, I'm teaching a seminar at the Hochschule für Gestaltung in Schwäbisch Gmünd, Germany. Here my students are translating the instructions for 9 other medicines into Tuqtuli. A laxative, a cream for inflammatory skin conditions, tooth gel, eye drops, suppositories for vaginal discharge, a nasal spray, nicotine patches, an antibiotic for children. Antibiotic and insulin there are some really hard nuts to crack when you want to translate terms like those into science. These works will be exhibited in various locations, first in this exhibition at the Museum Angewandte Kunst in Frankfurt, Germany. Also, meanwhile, IBU team member Alicia Link and I worked on a publication together, beautifully designed by her. It comprises the work of phase 0 to phase 2, and soon you can order your copy at the Tuqtuli website. Just let me know. So far, the IBU project has been such a joy, and at the same time brings a lot of difficulties and insecurities. But the same principles apply for the IBU project as for the Tuqtuli project, which is collective intelligence and fuzzy logic. So we embrace the open process, fully aware that what we do is unprecedented. Now, if you think the most difficult part is to translate words like side effects or insulin into science, you are much mistaken. It is to bring the team members together. Living in 6 different time zones with busy schedules, so project management is a huge challenge. Plus, everyone works on a voluntary basis, so no one can be chased. Also, there has been and will be a certain fluctuation in the team. But then, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Maybe you are one of them too. If so, you are welcome to join our team. If you like to cooperate, let's talk. And if you can, support the IBU project financially. Do not hesitate to spread the message. Let us know your ideas or suggestions, and keep up to date with the next steps of the IBU project here.
Wonderful. Thank you for this brief introduction. I have been, I'm trying to be a part of this too. As you said, it's voluntary. We all have a lot to do. We said it before the call, right? But I hope I can get more involved again, because I think this is an amazing project, and just the idea behind it is so special. And my biggest hesitation in the beginning was, as you remember maybe, that I said directly, I can't draw. I don't know how to draw.
Yes.
Like, as you said, many people say.
Yes.
So what would you say if people here are listening to this say, no, I can't draw, that's not for me?
Everybody who can hold a pencil can draw. You can draw a house, you can draw a stick figure, you can draw water, you can draw everything you like. And the part that is much more important in a Tuqtuli dialogue is that you are aware of the fact that the people who you are trying to communicate with, that they might not have the same visual experience that you have, and that they have other associations. So that is very interesting, because recently I heard a professor of linguistics, he said, language is always a repairing process. So it's also with your own mother tongue that you don't understand each other all the time 100%. And so you keep asking, did I understand you right? Or could you use another term because I don't know it? That is something we are so used to, we don't even notice. But when you have the same process with pencil and paper, when you have a dialogue with someone, it might happen that someone draws a sign that you cannot decipher, and then you can like ask in science, like make a circle, question mark, the rest is clear to me, but what does that mean? Can you like use another sign, another term? And as far as I can say for now, in the workshops where I had my participants conduct dialogues, that works extremely well. People understand each other. And they have fun. That's so funny. The one thing that I showed in the presentation, this little dialogue between doctor and patient, that was in the workshop that I gave recently to students. And I gave them the task, one is the doctor, one is the patient, and the patient comes up with a problem. I didn't say which one. And then they had a dialogue about the patient has stomach ache for days already, and the doctor asks, did you eat something wrong, or did you maybe not sleep enough, or something like that? And then it turns out the patient may be pregnant, so they agree that they do a test, and then pause. Really, they here there's the toilet, and there you can make the urine test, and then the patient comes back, and then they find, yes, the patient is pregnant, and then even discuss the patient is horrified and doesn't want to keep the baby, and what comes next. So I was really like, that blew me away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. And they did all this just by signs or also body language?
When I say in my workshops, now that's the last part of the warming up phase of getting used to the idea of communicating that way, then that is the cream on the cake that they can conduct a dialogue. And I always say, you cannot speak, you cannot use mimic, you cannot use gestures, and you must not nod, you must not shake your head, nothing of that. And then always the participants are like, oh my God, how are we going to do that?
Yeah.
But then the room falls silent, and all the pairs start. And then you feel like the atmosphere in the room is like warming up, because eventually you hear giggling.
Yeah.
And then open laughter, because it's fun, and sometimes they are really joking when they communicate via signs. Normally I gave, before I gave them other topics, like you're going on a journey together, where do you go, which means of transport are you going to take, when will you start, things like that. But now the this medical communication is something that opened up with the Ibuproject in autumn, and that makes me really so happy, because I see that is where the Tuqtuli project finds its ambassador in a way.
Yeah.
That shows how that this kind of communication is needed. Maybe even could be lingua franca in this field for of course, people who don't speak the same language.
I mean, this is more and more important also, because the world mixes itself more and more. We get more and more globalized, and we have people in different countries with many languages. A country doesn't have only one or two languages anymore, and this is getting more and more. So I think having systems like that to communicate with each other is really something we shouldn't just see as a side gig. Also, as I said before, in one of our first talks, that I see that also for stroke patients or patients who can't communicate in another way than drawing, there are different reasons why this could happen. So this could actually be one of the backbones of the medical communication, where I come in, because this is what I'm doing, medical communication. This is also why I'm here, because you went to the Ibuproject, and this is how we met. So for me, I'm really happy you pull Tuqtuli into the medical world, and which is again why I hope that I can participate a bit more in upcoming meetings and stuff. If listeners here are not an artist and maybe not don't have a medical background, would you still want them in your team, and why?
I want everyone who thinks it's a good idea in the first place, everyone who has an open mind, and likes to see facets of the world they don't know already. And that is like different cultures, different ways of seeing the world, different attitudes. And then also people I would welcome to the project, apart from their professional background, would be that they like to connect with other people they don't know already, because that is maybe in my presentation it became visible already a little bit. The team has such a beautiful spirit, and that is, for me, I get goosebumps saying that, because it's magic when you think that all the people that there are in this group never met in person before. We just know each other online, or that goes for the major part of the group. I knew some in person already, but that, yeah, most of the people, like you, I just know you online, and
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day to have a coffee in real life with you.
Yeah.
Like here on that table. That would be wonderful. But that is, yeah, that's it's amazing. And also maybe people who have I don't know whether you say that in English, who have a long breath, who have a
Yeah.
ability to work on something where the result isn't that it doesn't come up tomorrow or next week, because this project is absolutely a long time project.
Yeah.
We've started in autumn, as I already mentioned, and now we are still in the very beginning of this adventure, and there's so much that unfolds in by and by working on that project, where it becomes apparent what other aspects have to do with that. I mean, we're now starting the first testing phase, and I, for my part, am still not sure how that will go, and what the results will be, and how we will include them into the next phase, when we realize, okay, these are parts that are still difficult to understand. And yeah, this is such an adventure. I'm really happy that we have Mark on our team. Mark Gibson is someone from Great Britain who runs a company in the field of medical information. He was our contact. So you and I, we became contacted by him, thankfully.
Thank you, Mark.
His company tests texts in the medical realm worldwide, and I was blown away when I don't know how he found me on LinkedIn, but he contacted me, and we met and we talked, and it was such a wonderful conversation. And he was like, I want to be on that team. I think that's a brilliant idea. And he has everything it takes to conduct those tests. So I trust that he will guide us through that.
Yeah. I'm sure he will.
I'm still a bit nervous, because I'm thinking of big data, That's I was on that conference in Vienna 2 weeks ago, where we presented the Ibuproject, and I saw in another talk that someone presented, they work on science for emergencies, like earthquakes or a flood or something like that, and they I don't want to diminish that, but they work on just single signs.
Yeah.
They don't work on sentences, lined up signs. That makes it much more complicated. And what he showed, Rodrigo Ramirez from Chile, that was professor for visual communication. He has worked on that project for 10 years already. They're still working on that. So that maybe gives a frame that 10 years you work on something like that. And he showed a slide where they had one sign, and then all the test results in a cluster, in a cloud, all the words that people recognized what that sign could possibly mean.
Yeah.
And then what else was on that slide? I don't know, the new sign, or I don't remember any more. But then when you think of, okay, that is just testing one sign, think of, you have, how many sentences do we have? 14, 15, 16 sentences.
Wow.
And then every sentence consists of a series of signs. So how can you really find out where someone misunderstands a sentence?
Yeah,
Like
that
a sentence
sounds
like,
complicated. But on the other hand, maybe it makes things easier because you have a context to one sign. It's like what languages, it's like I'm a translator. If I have to translate one word, I have several options. But if I have a context, then I know which word to use. So maybe it's even easier having a sentence.
Yes, you're so right.
But I don't know, it works in my language, like my problem language. I don't know how it works in science, but I could imagine that that it's easier. What I found really interesting was the very first time that I saw the signs in my report. I understood most of it. And this was like, I'm like, okay, this is very intentional. So I'm actually very positive about your test phase. It's going to be good. And maybe, yeah, I mean, use KI for this. I mean, AI is very good in analyzing some tools.
Yeah, you know what? Sorry. In autumn, I'm going to continue this Milula project in another university, and I thought I personally don't work with AI, but maybe the students like to integrate working with that, because there was another talk at that conference where someone showed the results of his students working with AI and signs. So they had one sign, and then they asked AI to write themselves a prompt to reproduce the sign. And they had to describe the sign in order to prompt the AI to reproduce that. And then, they experimented with that. So, absolutely, since I tried to work with AI in the Tuqtuli field, that is like 3 years ago, and it was total crap at that time. The AI didn't even know what a sign is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The pictogram symbol, I had tried several different prompts. Absolute crap was the result.
Yeah, I mean, a lot happened in 3 years, right? And as you say, there might, I mean, if you listen to this talk and you are really like into AI and programming and stuff, or analyzing, this could be your part to participate in this group too, right? We need, for a project like this, you need many people from many different backgrounds. So hopefully we find some IT nerd here. I'm a language nerd. You're a design nerd. So
I find that not rarely people from information science, they have a notion for language.
Yeah,
and because they program in computer languages, so maybe that is something, I don't know, that makes them to be interested.
Every hand and every idea. Also, sometimes it's just nice to brainstorm and get new ideas. I remember our first talk where we were like, you could use this and this, and go to restaurants and kindergartens and bring them together and all this stuff. So a lot to do with it. I saw in your presentation some drawings were like real hand drawings. Others were created by what the cleaner ones? They were from design artists already. Is that the next step, or was it just coincidence?
Accident, because I told the students they should draw by hand, and then one student who wasn't there when I had the warming up phase of 2 days, and she wasn't aware. It does no harm, but obviously it's a contrast to the hand-drawn signs. And I, for now, am very happy to keep it in the hand-drawn area, because it reveals much more the image ideas behind the signs, and it's less intimidating. When you see a sign like a dripping nose, I mean, that's not hard to draw, a nose and a drop. And when you see that in a vectorized form, you might feel intimidated, and you're like, oh, I could never do like something like that. But the thing is, it's not about how you draw a dripping nose, but about how do you visualize a cold. Maybe the dripping nose isn't the only thing, because a cold involves a coughing and headache, and so so that is much more the focus we are having in the Ibuproject right now, and in the Milulayu project as well.
Yeah, wow, I'm really impressed by your energy you have, and but also by your team. Yeah, no, sorry, I lost the thread. I'm just really impressed by how much energy you have to put into this, or you take to put into this project, just because you love what you're doing. It's passion, it's the thing behind it. I think that's what you said before, that you want passionate people who have a long breath. I would say maybe more patient, and also have an open mind. Now I wonder if I have never heard of this until today, what could I expect if I get in touch with you, like the listeners here? What can they expect? What will happen, and what will be expected from them?
I'm thinking about who is welcome in the team. There's another answer coming to my mind. It's not everybody is maybe the one who works on the visual translations, but we would need other people in the team who do a completely different kind of work, like Mark, who will conduct the testing or guide us through that. And there will be other parts of work that are needed, like bringing financial support into the project, because on my part, I spend really a lot of my time, and I need to live from something. So I'm compelled to conduct this project, and I'm compelled to conduct this Tuqtuli project, and eventually by giving workshops, that is something where money is involved, but this part could be extended. So I could imagine that an institution or a company who is curious to try a workshop in that field to train their doctors or their pharmacists in Tuqtuli conversation, that would be interesting. Or maybe an institution or a company who says that's such a fascinating project, and we believe in that, and we support that financially. So that would also be something extremely welcome in the Ibuproject.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about medical schools as well for nurses. You have many, because they are often the ones, also the medizinische Fachangestellte. They are often the first ones that communicate with the patient in reception already. So this is what comes up in my mind. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great. Yeah, you narrowed it down great, so that people who are in the field actually get a picture of. Yeah.
But then to answer your question, before I made this extra round, what would expect them when they join the team? It's they just jump on the bus, you know, but it's rolling slowly, so it's no harm, no risk when you try that. and you in this bus you would find a bunch of people, and we come together when it is necessary. We have two ways of coming together. We have the team that there is at the time, that, as I said, is some people stay for a while, some people come back, some people stay there all the time. So that's a little bit, that's the party you're joining. And then we have like an idea of the direction where our bus goes, but there's no like special path. And sometimes maybe we just drive in the open field because there is no path. And that may very well happen. The other thing that we do is that we split the whole team into smaller groups. We split the team in the last phase into 4 groups. And so that was because we decided we want to have 4 different versions of translation where you would not find the same elements from the 11 drafts from the beginning 2 times. And today I'm going to meet those in the 4 groups that have like they have the hat on with the visuals, and they finalize these optimized versions. And I found recently that we still have some in some parts we have some elements that 2 or even 3 of us use, and we will come together today and discuss that. And then what else expects someone who joins the team? We sometimes we mail and send some things back and forth, and still also the frequency of our meetings and how much the single team members communicate with each other. It's all a little bit open and can be shaped by the people who are in the group. That's also that's something I really like, that you can say, I like to do something, I like to bring people together, I like to bring something in, I have an idea, and you suggest that. So it's an open process, as I already said already.
Yeah, it's a lot to do, and then you find your role. Yeah, as you said, just jump on the bus and see where it's going. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome, Juli. I want to thank you for taking the time today again, for being in the MedTalk with me and explaining a bit more detailed on a very interesting example what Tuqtuli really is. And I think it complements the first part very well. And if you as a listener have a general want to get a general idea more about what Tuqtuli actually is, you're more than welcome to listen or like watch the first part where we go way more into detail about the actual Tuqtuli language, or how do you say sign communication principle. Yes, exactly.
Maybe I add it's not a language because nobody needs to learn visual vocabulary or pictogram. The premise is that everybody can do that already.
Even kids, right?
Even kids, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Maybe we could learn the most out of the kids because they are still very much
in they don't hesitate, they just do it.
Recently, and they communicate with it all the time, you know? Yeah, so
and recently I did work with children for the first time ever, and they were 11 and 12 years old, and they were so refreshing and very intelligent. They came up with bright ideas for visual translations. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, I would love to put my kids into your group and to see what they could do. Yeah,
amazing. I'd love to come to Sweden.
Yeah, you're welcome to be here. This summer is very full, but maybe in autumn, then the guest house is free again.
Maybe that's the thing I should add, that both Tuqtuli project and the Ibuproject are made for seeing the world. And so I, as the initiator and motor, I would accompany it in the first phase until it becomes a self-running system that I hope. And also for the Milulayu project, the works of the students that are going to be refined in autumn by other students, but they're going to be shown this summer already in Frankfurt, as I said. And if anyone of those who are listening right now, they can think of like a hospital or another institution where they think it would be interesting to exhibit that, maybe in a foyer or in a dining room of such a building where people just pass by and see that and they start thinking, and they may very well contact me.
Interesting. I just got an idea, but I will tell you in private because I need to think about it, how to do that. But I do have ideas again.
Good.
I will let you know as soon as they are formed in my head.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wonderful. Well,
Katrin.
thank you again, Juli. Have a wonderful day and say hi to your team in the afternoon.
Thank you.
And I'll see you around. We just stay in contact, and if anybody here wants to get to know Juli, she's on almost all channels I know. We will link the channels again anyway, though.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Katrin. It was such a pleasure talking to you today.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
And see you on the team, on the Ibu team soon again.
As soon as I manage.
When you feel like that.
Yeah, after my summer break, I need some air in my head.
Wonderful. Okay, bye.